Hey guys, this is Lior with Engel and Volkers out of Boston, and in this video we're going to talk about how to manage the process of buying a home and selling a home at the same time without losing your mind. So if you're looking on the market right now and you need to both sell your home and buy your home at the same time, at first it can be a really, it can be kind of an overwhelming thing, right? Because there's a lot of moving components and a lot of things that need to be done for it to be a smooth transaction. So here are a few tips for you to handle this stressful transaction. So tip number one, before you even do anything with your home, go get pre-approved with a local lender, right? So do the math on, the estimated amount of money that you think you're gonna walk away with on the sale of your home, and then figure out how much money you wanna put down, and then go talk to a lender and make sure that you can get pre-approved for the right amount for your next purchase. Now, once you have that in mind, right, then you wanna start figuring out the logistics of your home, right? The one that you currently own. You want to get it appraised correctly by a local realtor, right? Again, you don't want to use things like Zillow estimates or Realtor.com estimates, because you're probably going to get disappointed because they're typically not accurate, right? So go get a local realtor, someone that knows what they're doing, that can get you a real appraisal and get real market value of where you're going to sell your home. That way you have your most accurate numbers in hand. And here's the thing, what a lot of people tend to do is they think, well, I'm just gonna first make sure I find the right home for me, right, as a buyer, before I do anything with my own home. And even though the logic is fair, here's the deal. We're still in a really, really competitive seller's market right now, anywhere around the Boston area, right? Within 10 to 15 miles, you're still gonna be dealing with the seller's leverage, right? Seller has the power. So that means if you're a buyer who's gonna be using funds from your home to purchase your next home, and you go up to this new home and say, here you go, here's my offer, it's contingent on me selling my home, and your home isn't even on the market yet, it's not even being marketed yet, it doesn't have an offer, it doesn't have a purchase and sales. Think about that seller, right? I mean, that seller's not going to take that offer, right? I mean, there's just way too much risk. There hasn't been anything done in motion, right? And if the listing agent's a good agent for that seller, he'll say, you know what? No, you're not a qualified buyer. I'm going to go with someone else. So it's extremely, extremely difficult to really get a property yourself under contract as a buyer without even having your home on the market. So that's why we first want to start tackling the sale of your home first, right? So we want to get it prepped for the market, do all the usual updates, simple and cost-effective updates that I've recommended in other videos. So once you do that, and you can put your home on the market, and then ideally you even get an offer within a week or two, right? You price it correctly, you get a couple of offers, you bid them up, and you get your best offer. That's great. Now, once you have that offer, then you can really start aggressively shopping for homes, right? Because then you can put in an offer that says, look, my offer is contingent on the sale of my home, but that home is already under agreement, right? So it puts less risk for the next seller. And here's the concern a lot of sellers have is, well, I don't want to put my home on the market, right? Because what if I sell my home, but I don't find my new dream home that I love, right? I don't want to be kicked out to the street. That's a really fair concern. So it's solved with a simple contingency that your listing agent will put on your listing for your home that will simply say this sale is subject to the seller finding suitable housing, right? So that means if you get a buyer for your home and come the 30 or 45 day period where you're scheduled to close and you still have not found your next home, you can force the extension of the sale, right? Now, what we might advise at this point, if you get into that situation where your home is under agreement and you're actively looking for other homes, depending on how quickly you want things moved, maybe you come up with a plan B, right? Where you might potentially rent for a month or two or stay with someone that you know for a month or two while everything gets sorted out. But if that's not an option for you, and you're in the position where you're in a position where you have to sell your home and you have to move into the new home right away, again, that contingency 100% protects you. And we've had instances where we've had to extend the sale of the seller's home by up to 45 days to find them their next home that they absolutely love. So that happens. And again, it happens because it's still a seller's market. So as you are the seller on your home, you still have leverage over that buyer, right? You're still in control over that buyer. So that's why you can extend that sale and protect yourself. So once you have your home on the market, right, that's the best time, and ideally under agreement, that's the best time to start seriously shopping for homes. Now, ideally what happens too is we'll schedule the 2 closings, right? Your home's closing and your next home's closing on the same date. So you'll close on your first home, right? The funds from that buyer will be held by your attorney. And then within a few hours, what ideally happens is you go to the next closing room and you close on your next home, right? So it becomes a pretty smooth transaction. Again, usually we can get the dates to work. If for some reason there's some unforeseen pressure or anything like that, remember, you always can extend your sale. And as a buyer too, if you're a few days from closing, you can always extend that as well, because the seller is highly unlikely to back out from the deal. So hopefully that makes sense. A few other tips we'll give too is you want to be on the more prepared side once you start the transaction on your side with your home. So a few other good things might be to start putting some things in storage, right? So before you put your home in the market, start decluttering things, start putting stuff in storage, because you're going to have a transition where you're moving your stuff from your old home to your new home. You're probably going to need some sort of intermediary to keep some of your bigger belongings like furniture, TVs, all that stuff. You're probably going to need to store that. So make sure you have some options available for you, right? But once you get the sale of your home going, you can really start finding your new dream home. And from there, you can align the dates to ideally close on the same date. And if not, make sure you have a good realtor who can negotiate you a good alternative. But hopefully that makes sense. It can be a complicated transaction, but it can be done smoothly if handled.